Once again, I welcome all the participants in the 11th week, second session, where we have to discuss about, we have started discussing on the participatory rural present, participatory learning and action. So in the same, we have to just extend sub the same topic here in this week, in this session. So what are the guidelines of the field area when you go into the communities? What are the guidelines that you have to follow? One thing is very important, that defining the objectives of PRA. So what kind is the PRA you are going to take and what are the objectives? So if you are going to get some kind of the needs assessment of the community, so you can go with the chapati diagram, Venn diagram and many more, even the force field analysis. But you just have to understand the overall the community dynamics and then resources available in the community, so that for the future that you can be intervene into those in those area, or maybe for the some agricultural aspects. What kind of the crops which are supposed to grow in that community, and what are the soil aspect or the types of the soils available in the community, and what are the level of alkalinity and the acidity of the soil. So these, depending upon the objective of the project, you have to define the PRA, what kind of the PRA you are going to use it, and what are the objectives of those PRA technique. Site selection and then clearance from local administrative office, so important. At what area, at what place you are actually developing that tool, means for the resource mapping you have to ask the committee member and to mobilize the community members to come over there. So what you have to select, for that you have to select the right place, which is where that every members of the committee could easily come and participate. See, many a time it happened that if you have selected someone's house, maybe definitely it happened in the community that and everywhere, like maybe 90% people is having a good relationship with that person, but maybe 5 or 10% is not ready to come at their someone's homes. Even in the rural areas, the caste dynamics is actually prohibiting someone's to come in someone's home. So it's better to take some common spaces like this panchayat ghar, barat ghar, or the anganwadi. It's some common spaces. So for that you need some permission. So you have to take the permission from administrative officials for actually selecting any space for conducting the tools. And then preliminary visits. So survey team, you have to go to take some basic information of the community. That you can also go through some transit walk initially, that you have to very preliminary information you can get. So all these tools we are going to discuss in this coming sessions. Extended discussion with local leaders, agreement to do a PRA, so just to make it popular among the community members that we are coming here to have a discussion on this. And then sharing responsibility with the people, so that who will participate and how the different responsibility and how the different stakeholders would participate. So this is all. And then here also it's about to mobilization. Mobilization means after selecting the places, after deciding the tool, you have to mobilize the community members to come on a particular date and day or time, whichever you have decided. Maybe for on the same day, maybe on the next day or the coming week, whatever and whichever date you have decided, you just have to make it public to all and make the community members mobilize to come and to participate into that space in that area, right? So the next is about the data collection. Local people survey team collected information, and through maybe that is the special data regarding the physical spaces, time related information, data on institution, social structure, technical information. So depending upon for what types of the data you are going to collect, you have to go with those kind of the resources as well. Means once you have to prepare the map, maybe the map on a ground you have to draw with some kind of the colors and some kind of the chalks, or maybe you have to take this one big sheets and then ask the community members to draw the maps on that sheet. It could also be possible. And you can also draw the map on a ground with the help of the different indigenous materials like the pebbles and stones and the leaves, husk and such things, right? Data analysis. After collecting the data, next aspect is about the data analysis. So PRA team spends days organizing information, make large charts and tables or trends, maps, transacts, etc. Compile a list of all the problems mentioned and summarize the problem. Then ranking the problems. after getting all the kinds of the issues and concerns of the community, then you have to rank them. So present to the community data collected in large meeting, rank the problem by discussion on voting. So you can also do it through the chapati diagram. So before chapati diagram, then I'll discuss about the chapati diagram. It will be more easy for you to understand. But here I just have to make you understand that after getting the information about the problems and issues, you can also prioritize them, that which problem is of the prime important as per the consensus coming out from the community, and then accordingly you have to intervene, plan the action for that problem, to take that problem which has been considered as a prime important to be the first, and then the next problem will be taken by in the next time. Formulate and rank opportunities. So from the discussion groups on the solution of the problem, obtain advice from the technical officers on the feasibility, sustainability, productivity, equity of the solution, rank opportunities, set an action plan. So after this all, you will be able to decide what kind of the programs and what kind of the tools, even for the tools and even for the programs, you can decide which tools you are going to use, which has to be more feasible as per the objective, sustainable, product, equity of solution and all. So this is about the formulate the rank opportunities on the tool as well as mainly on the solution. So on the solution, we can think on, according to the kind of the feasibility, sustainability, productivity and all. Adoption of action plan, look for the technical information to develop the comprehensive plan. A specific expert join PRA team to develop more good action plans. Implementation, manpower allocation, materials needed, time needed, funds required. So this is what, through all these the steps for going with the PRA you have to go with. Now this is just summarization of the same, is about PRA is been used from planning to implementation to the evaluation. So first is about the problem identification, then priority of the problem, then planning and implementation, then program monitoring, that once you implement the program, that's need to be monitoring, and then after the whole program has been end up, you need to be evaluate these. So this is the kind of the circle. By understanding this circle, it will be easy for you to understand the whole process of PRA technique, whole process of the project project and program. So that is with the help of the PRA technique at every step. Now, how to proceed for the PRA? So, very first thing is about developing the rapport building. So, as per the guidelines, so we have also to talk about that, how to proceed. The very first thing is about to develop the rapport building, is the prime important. Once you have a good rapport with the community, it is easy for you to make a correct decision, to make a opt intervention as per the requirement of the community. So, the team should follow the following steps suggested by Pokharil for conducting PRL in the rural areas, like start talking to the rural people, saying local hello, whatever the way they accept it, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, yeah, whatever the way, the kind of greet they, which is common into that community. So, for example, on the treat and respect rural people as per their local customs. Ask the knowledgeable people about the subject area in the village, and then try to meet with the local leaders and officials before starting any program. This is also the part of the rapport building of the community and with the community. Clearly explain reasons for your coming. This is very important. So it gives a kind of clear picture to the community and to reduce the kind of confusion among the community members. This is always part and parcel. So there is always a confusion why you are here. So there is a lot of it's also kind of the fear that why you are here, because usually it happened that some groups or some chit funds may be kind of the groups as make the rural community fool, and then they actually I personally experienced many times in the rural areas, they have come up with a lot of the stories. So it's very important to make them confident that you are there for them only, and how you are different from other cheaters and all, right? Show genuine interest in the local issues. So you have given all the gestures that you are interested, you are understanding the social issues. choose time and venue that are convenient for the local people. It's not about your convenience, rather it's about the convenience of the community member. At what time the women are free that you can involve with, at what time the males are free. For that, there are another tool which is important, the daily chart, daily calendar, that through that you can understand that what times the community members are more free time, that so that you can develop a good rapport with those people and that free time. Data collection by applying the tools and techniques. So this is start collecting information by applying appropriate tools and techniques once the rapport is developed, right, in a village. So second step is about a data collection and applying after this all happened, once you have a good rapport with the community. Then iteration. Iteration is one of the techniques of collecting information in PRA method. In this technique, the same question is repeatedly asked in different situations for actually confirming the given information, right? So to make a information, just to validate it, you have to take the same question and ask the same question to many section of the community. A very high payoff from flexibility of the methodology through iteration occurs in the ability to reform questions and formulate a new questions. So after asking the same question, you have see that that question is not understood by the community member, or it is not useful to ask this. So you can actually change the question, modify the question. So iteration is the way you can actually giving the space, and it's very useful that you have to validate your questions is very necessary, that whether it is useful or not, whether it is understandable by the community or not. So especially within the interview itself. Probing is another important aspect that needs to be follow while you are going for the PRA. So what is that? The main function of the probe is to encourage the respondent to answer more fully and accurately, right? So it's not, should not be in hurry so that you have to just ask another question in between. So giving the full time, so there they have to come up with the whole kind of the answer, complete answer. Furthermore, it's also helpful to structure the respondents answers and make sure that all topics of interest are covered. Always start questioning with who, what, why this happened, when it is going to happen, who and how. So these are the 6 helpers usually being considered to be in a probing to identify the problem. So that is the who, what, why, when, who and how. So for helping the establish the basic information, with asking these questions, you will be able to get the answer and get the understand the overall situation. Next is also important is the observation. With your asking your questions, and then while working with the community, your observational skills should be very important. That you have to observe many times. Some activity, some gesture is more reflecting to the reality than there was. So always be very critical in observation, very correct in your observation. So this is in this technique, related indicators are used in the field to verify the collected information or to generate questions. You also can validate the answers which has been coming out from the community through your observation. Once they say something but their gesture doesn't support, or someone's others in between saying something which is contradicting to the statement which is coming from the one community member. So that is what your observation, this is what the observation, right? And then you observe that, okay, the answer which is giving and someone is not liking it and someone is actually negate it. So you could ask the same questions to in some other settings to some other person. So this is what very important, the thing, that is your observation. Next is classification of the techniques based on the goals and application. So now we have to start the different tools and techniques which has been used in the community, a very practical thing. So from here onwards, we are going to discuss about the different tools which has been the part of the overall PRA techniques. So it has been defined or classified on the basis of goals and its application. So very first is exploratory types of PRA. So these type of the PRA techniques were widely used to diagnose the current situation. So it's, as it is exploratory, right? Such as farming system, health and health facilities, hygiene, sanitation, gender analysis, livelihood. It could be any areas on which you actually have to explore the thing. Next aspect is about the topical kind of techniques. It's usually the tools which is coming under the topical are very specific to particular one area, one concern. So it's a specific area of concern in the greater depth, like the soil fertility only, not about the crops and all, only about the soil fertility, and nothing about the over other issues of the community, just simply about the soil fertility. And it could be the waters or concerned areas, could be a specific disease, diet, income sources. So very specific area. Any tool which is very specific to one topic only, and to get the detailed information about that particular aspect, that is called the topical type of techniques. Next classification is based on the problem solving tools of the PRA. So diagnosis of the problem and suggestion of solution with the participation people could be through the PRA technique. Fosters community involvement in problem identification, in resolution, empowerment, and then to make the ownership of the outcome. So this is what the problem solving diagnosis could be. Those type of the tools which are based on the problem solving, means interventional aspect. So that FGD I particularly feel as wonderful methods through which we can talk about them and we can analyze the concerns and issues, as well as then how can we resolve the problems. Next types and next aspect through which we classify the techniques and tools of the PRA based on its nature. Whether the PRA technique is about the space related tools, so it's all kind of the mapping comes under that, transit walk, social mapping, resource mapping, topical mapping. So there's a lot type of the mobility mapping comes under the space related tools. Next type of or the classification of the tools on the basis of its nature comes under the time related tools, like the seasonality diagram, like timeline and all, and daily calendar, which is related to the time aspect, right? Third one is about the rational tools or relationship based tools, which is not about the space, which is not about the time. It's more about the some abstract ideas or some rationality, like it's the many type of the matrix or the kind of the even the FGD, even the force field analysis. Force field analysis is come under this. And then many more type of the tools coming here. Like space related tools here, let's start with the one by one in detail. So first is about the space related tools. So space related tools and techniques are useful tools and techniques to explore the spatial dimension of the people's realities. Their primary objective is to understand how people perceive and relate to space in their community. Various types of visual maps are utilized in the application of space related methods. So these are like mapping. So here mapping could be social mapping, resource mapping, mobility mapping, and apart from the mapping there's a transit walk. Many time transit walk also actually validate the kind of the map you have developed with. So mapping is a detailed picture of an area showing all the basic facilities, main structures including houses, temples, walls, stores, schools, even to the community dynamics. So these diagrams are developed by the people of themselves of that community, and they uses the different kinds of symbols and then keys to actually define the kind of the different resources and then kind of the different dynamics present in the community. Let's discuss one by one all the kind of the space related tools. So very first is social mapping. Social mapping, an image of habitation pattern of an area according to the people's perception, and social mapping is perhaps the most popular method of PRA. Both the social and resource mapping, and usually we do the social resource mapping together. There's two different mappings. One is social mapping, and then next we are going to discuss about the social resource mapping. But it happened that usually we do the social and resource mapping together, so we commonly call it as a social resource mapping, even though here it's very specifically about the social mapping. Social mapping seeks to explore the spatial dimension of people's reality. It is an ideal way to understand the habitation pattern of the nature of infrastructure, and particularly social mapping is more important to understand the community dynamics. So they are made by the local people, all the kinds of the maps, and they are not drawn on a scale. Not drawn on a scale means if the road is of 5 kilometers, So you cannot draw the 5 kilometers, or even to convert it to, as in the geographical mapping or physical mapping, convert it into the proportionately, like 5 kilometers to maybe to some scale, and then 10 kilometers with the proportionately. No, it's not necessary. You can just draw any ways, on need not to use any scale to draw a straight line with the scale. You just have to draw with your free hands, not you but by the committee member, and then define that rivers and then railway and all. So there is different symbols which could be used to prepare the map, but need not to use any kind of the scale. The diverse application of social mapping include creating a base understanding of social and physical characteristic of any community. So here social is so important in the social mapping particularly. Collecting demographic data such as detailed household specific information, means what kind of the caste is living into the which area, which lane. So by getting this way, you can very easily understand the overall dynamics of the community. Next is about the establishing a comfortable forum for discussion where people are able to open up, and then intricacies of social relations within their community they can come up with. So what are the objectives of social mapping? So to learn about the social structures in the villages of different among the households by ethnicity, religion and wealth, and to learn about who is living where, so to understand the overall the community dynamics. Then to learn about the social institutions and different views local people might have regarding the institution. Maybe this is the Dalit area, and mandir or masjid is here, maybe, right? But the upper caste people are living here, so they are living very far to the mandir, or maybe this is a well which is not been close to the scheduled caste people also. Maybe this well is more close to the scheduled caste people, it could be. So the situation may be vary from community to community. Even in the community where the more programs have been intervened for the development of the to the lower classes or underserved communities, so they have all the resources. So you can also identify that these resources are because of particular programs and policies, or any the resources available is been constructed or has been developed by the community itself. So by understanding this all, you can understand the different dynamics of the community. To understand, it's about to understand the different social institution of the community. Through spatial and social mapping, one can understand the spatial configuration of the social resources and can also understand the social dynamics of the community. So who are living in which areas, what are the resources are more accessible to which community. So these are the different social dynamics you can get into through developing this mapping. How to do it? What are the practical way to sit on a common platform with the villagers, involve the villagers, identify the houses, poorest of the poor, even women-headed houses, etc. On the basic, depend on the kind of the goals and objective you are with. So unnecessary thing again need not to involve, but overall to understand the community dynamic, these are the important thing to take into account. Also locate the households in the map whose livelihood are dependent on forest. If you are working with the tribals particularly, so this is very important. Draw the boundary of villages on a chart paper, maybe in a circle or whatever way, and encourage the community members to draw the map of the villages. Okay, from here we are coming, and then which road we are going, we are sitting here, so from where we are coming here. So that way you facilitate the community members to discuss about. As icebreaker, facilitator can initiate the drawing by making an important landmark. You can start with, okay bhaiya, hum log yahan baithe hain, we are sitting here, right? So how we can reach here? Can you draw the road, and then what is near what is whose house is near to this area where we are sitting right now, where you can take that that place where you're actually preparing the map or preparing the any tool. You can take that as a reference point, and from where also you can make the whole maps as a reference point. From here, what is near about, whose house is closer, whose house is farther, where are the the agriculture lands are there. So this kind of, so focus on identifying. So you can start with, actually started one very important landmark of the community, and then definitely it gives a kind of the ease to the community member, and they do coming out and they do participate then. Focus on identifying the households settled on available and in and around the villages. After the village households have been mapped, identify the consultation with the participant. Are these okay, whatever we have prepared? The criteria that are important for understanding the village socio-economic situation: type of house, main occupation, land holding, drinking water, sanitation, facilities, and so forth. So, what kind of the kacha house, pakka house has been there? How is the road? Is either it is concrete or kachi road or mitti road? What are the water resources available in that community? So, and then which community is more accessible to such resources? So, or either the community is having the electricity or not. So, if it is, so then where is that whole transformer and all? So, you have to draw all such aspects, particularly important to understand the overall community dynamics of that community, right? So, in filling out, and it's also important in between, you have to ask it whatever, because map is maybe drawn by one or two people or from the community, and you're just facilitating. But in between, you have to ask to other members who are standing there, भैया उनको भी बताते रहो, क्या ये सही बना रहे? Please do interfere, whether the person who is actually making the map is okay or not, please do interfere. So, if someone says that no, it's not the right way, so you just have to intervene. Okay भैया, he is saying something, please do listen. वो क्या कह रहे हैं, वो इधर से नहीं इधर से बता रहे हैं कि बाकी लोग क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं. So that way it has to be involving everyone, and so that is the way you can actually get a correct map. In filling out the details, some new information may emerge in between or after developing the whole map, or some omissions and errors be brought out. These may be cross-checked and corrected. After developing all the maps, you have to make it correct as to the rest of the committee members. This is what your village is. So now you just have to look at it, whether it is correct or any kind of the further rectification is important, or any kind of the omission is there, or there is a need of any kind of additional information into this map, or these streets which has been shown here, or the connection of the different streets and then all are correct or not. So you have to then get the feedback from the committee after completing of the map. Once the map is completed, ask questions about what is shown and interpretation. And then after this all, you have to ask them, what do you think about this village? How you see your own village? Is it okay with all the kinds of the resources? Are you okay that the places where you are actually segregated or living together? So you can also get to understand the ghettos in the communities and all. So that's what you have to do a quick analysis of data gathered and share the results with the group. Okay, this is what that whole you have prepared, and just give a clap to them and appreciate the participation of the committee members. And after the whole visualization, they could be more easy to understand the overall the nature of their own community, which they earlier doesn't. Minimum content for the resource mapping could be location and list of the village households. Main occupation you must be aware about, whether landed or landless, identification of vulnerable location of boundaries, dependent households, the field forest, the existence of social groups, assessment of nature and extent of non-natural resources, and for sustenance of livelihood. For these all, you can have to develop some kind of the keys, right? Keys are important. Maybe for like houses, you can develop the one kind of the key. The houses which has been led by the women, means there is no male member, so here you can develop any other key. For the pakka road, for the kacha road, for the railway track, so you have to develop certain kind of the keys, right? And then the well, and then hand pump. So the way, whatever way, you have to develop some kind of the keys, and then accordingly you ask to the community member which are the streets which is connected to which street, and where the maximum number of the people living. If they are living in the maximum number here in this area, so which caste they belong to. If the another community is living in the outer part of the community, so who they are, right? Where the mandir is been located, where are the masjids if it is located there, who are actually responsible to managing this, is there any kind of the ponds or not. So you can develop that way a good map which represent overall the dynamics of the community, and by looking into this, community could be visualized. So I just have to added one prepared map here. It's not been prepared by me, but I have taken it. So as like they see that how the Pakka road and then how the community has been connected. So how the different here are the crops and then agricultural areas. Here how the peoples are living here. So these are the some keys which has been prepared here. So according to the keys, it has been this is a poultry raising households where the poultries, they are actually involved into, maybe in if you're going to Rajasthan, you find that many villages that I mean in different areas they are involved in different kind of the activities. So within the same village, the different people are engaging into different kind of the activities. So accordingly, if you are working with if you are actually going with to get information about the kind of the livelihood, you can actually develop some kind of the keys to demonstrate or to signify the different houses with a different, or you cannot actually count every and put every houses here. You can just have to give in the idea where the maximum number of the people are living. So this is the way you can develop a overall map of or the social map of any area. So like the trees here, it's totally appeared, I mean it's a tree, ponds, and then poor economic class is shown by the blue. So these are the poor people who are living in these areas. So through this all map, you can be very easily identify the or get the picture. Here in this map, the color has been used. So as I've already told you that it can be prepared on a land. You can use the different colors, or even in the chart paper, you can use the different colors to actually signify the different actually to use as a key. Or you can also use some kind of the symbols if you don't use any color. So you can use the symbols to actually signify the different keys, right? Now coming to the next is about the resource mapping. So resource mapping, as I've told you that social and resource mapping usually been done together. So it's commonly known as a social resource mapping. But if you're only concerned for the resources to get information about the community resources, so only go with the resource mapping, because if you're actually mixing both with the social mapping, that's mainly concerned about the community dynamics. So it is like you get more confusion. So it's better that if you are only concerned for the resources of the community, be very specific to the resources only, right? So it's a visual representation done by the local to illustrate the natural resources or maybe the man-made resources of the community. The purpose of the resource map is to understand the natural resources of an area. Usually it has been done for the natural resources, especially in the rural areas, in the tribal areas, the forestry areas, it has been done, right? Such as the rivers, fields, vegetation, etc. But if you have to do it in the urban areas, in the slum areas, so definitely you cannot get much of the natural resources. So that time you have to add some man-made resources or the resources which is being provided by the any agency or the any government. But as the emergence and the historicity of the resource mapping says that it's mainly about to get the natural resource or get the information of the natural resources. At times, it can be difficult to distinguish between natural resources map and then social map. As I have mentioned you, generally, those social maps illustrate habitation, community facilities, roads, while resource map focus upon the natural resources of the community. So you can combine both if it is for the general information of the community, but specifically for the resources, you have to go with the resource map. What is required for any kind of the map? These are the things which you need to be required: the chart paper, pencil, eraser, pen, or if you have to draw in the ground, you need chalk, stick, leaves, pebbles, etc. The resource map provides a bird's eye view of the locality with a focus on natural resources. It's not like that you have to prepare, from the different dimension. Rather, you have to prepare it from the bird's eye view. As the birds is flying, so how it the whole village is appeared with all kind of the resources, the lands, the ponds, the trees, the mountains, and all the croplands and all. So how the birds is, it's about the bird's view. So I just have to added one map here. so how the community member has been involved into, and then this is also a map which is also adding with some kind of the modeling. So modeling is also a kind of the participatory rural appraisal and participatory learning action tool, where we can be use some kind of the small models like for the houses and all, you can put it there and to develop as like the it has been used in number of the other field also, where the miniature of any building, miniature of any area has been constructed. That is also a kind of the modeling could be used in the PRA technique in the for to actually visualize the community's overall resources. But here, as in this map, it has been totally about the resource mapping, the trees and all, houses, trees, road, ponds, and apart from that, it is also using some kind of the models to put it here. To show, but modeling is altogether is about to show and to represent the whole visualization of the whole community through a kind of the miniature things. You put it all the miniatures or the there into that whole modeling aspect. Now, how it helps us, the resource mapping. So, to involve the community to identify the local resources, both natural, physical or human, and how they are distributed within the community. This is again important. So, visualizing natural resources and their usages in the community is been as important objective of the overall resource mapping. To involve the community for identifying their potential opportunities available in the community in terms of the resources and then potential threats. So, many times they don't realize the kind of the threats is been present in the community. They even sometimes they don't realize the kind of the assets they do have in a terms of resources. They usually they don't tap those resources. So, after the identification of those resources and the usefulness of that, after the discussion of the usefulness, that community members can got realize and they can use those resources in a more positive manner, more constructive manner. Next, to understand the group dynamics and natural leaders, and then to make people aware about the potential resources available in the villages, as well as the need for management of resources on sustainable basis. After understanding the resources, the community members will be more understandable, more capable enough to use it more in a more better manner, more secure manner, definitely with the facilitation and guidance from you and from your agency. How to do it? This all resource mapping. Set a common platform with the villages, as mentioned in the resource mapping, social mapping as well. Draw the boundary of the village on a chart paper and ground to facilitate, encourage the villagers to draw the map of the village. Involve the villagers to draw or put some indigenous material to signify the resources like like the main natural resources and physical resources available in the village, like forest, agriculture, land, horticulture and all. Discuss with them, referring the map, what the natural resources available in the villages whose potentials are not yet utilized fully and which are overutilized. So, it's again important that what are the resources which has been not used yet and which are being used over, overutilization of some resources has been happened. So, it's a kind of the threat that in a coming day or coming years, that resources is going to be depleted, and the resources which has not been utilized having a lot of the potential, and by tapping, by using that resources, the whole community could be actually get a lot of the benefits, right? So, this is what so important. And usually many organizations, they do ask to their the social workers to identify the resources of the community which has not been identified yet, and what are the potential of those resources, how it is going to be helpful for the community development. It's again so important, right? So and then what are the problems, and there's hundreds of stories of there. I cannot put and give all the examples. So but these are the wonderful ways that through identification of the needs or the resources which has not been utilized, and then identifying their potentials by facilitating, guiding, and then through some kind of the resources application and some kind of the programs and policy ensured with that resources, community could actually bring a lot of the changes, and in the community there are a lot changes could be happen. What are the problems arising due to the overexploitation of the resources? It is also important to understand the threat if they continuously using that resources without concerning for the future. So, it's also important to make them realize that this resource is going to deplete, because you can also use that, okay, if you are using this pond, is it the same way it is 10 years back or 20 years back? So if there's a no, so this means this is depleting, right? So there's something has to be put some kind of the check on this, or the kind of the water you are receiving is the same, or the soil quality is the same as the 10 years or 15 years or 20 years is the back, or the kind of the crop which has been so by analyzing this all, after analysis of the whole resources, it is more give a kind of visualization can be analysis of by the community with the community member to make a more sustainable steps. Thank you so much. This is all about today's lecture. I hope you understand that how to prepare the social mapping and then resource mapping, and what are the uses of these two mapping. In the coming session, we are further taking the different sets of the tools which we have discussed, like the different types, like within the mapping we have discussed the social mapping, resource mapping. Still we have to discuss the mobility mapping and other two mapping, and then we have to discuss the transit walk between the space related, and then after that we are going to discuss about the time related tools and then rational tools. So with this I just stop my lecture here.